Hello, guys. Welcome to the show. Don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up this episode. Following the tragic death of Garrison, Sister Wives cast member Maddie Brown Brush has made the decision to reconnect with the children of Robin Brown. Robin has isolated her 5 children from the rest of the family for quite a while now, even going as far as to break up their group chats during the holidays. So, why did Maddie contact again? It's been apparent for some time that Cody Brown has decided to remain with Robin, his fourth wife, and her children. Since the start of the pandemic in 2020, he has kept his distance from his other 3 wives and their children. As Cody had 3 wives and 13 other children, tensions arose since he did not think Christine, Mary, or Janelle were making safe or responsible decisions. He even accused a few of his own children of compromising his health. Old fans of the series have seen Cody's clear favoritism towards Robin, even going so far as to call her his most obedient wife. His troubled relationships with his other children, however, formed great rifts within the family. Once his first 3 wives abandoned the polygamous way of life, Cody and Robin were the only 2 remaining side by side. What's been especially painful is how Robin's children became completely disconnected from the original 13 kids in the family. The bond they once shared over years of growing up together seemed lost. However, during Garrison's funeral in Wyoming, which was attended by the whole family, a moment of unity emerged. In the aftermath, Maddie took the opportunity to sit down with her siblings, including Leon Brown, Mary Brown's estranged child. Through that heartfelt conversation, Maddie opened the door for possible healing and reconnection, that she wished to get back in touch with Robin's children. She began by expressing her annoyance with their father, Cody even going so far as to refer to the sister wife star by name instead of Dad. I'm angry about what transpired with Cody, but I still have choice over the way I react and how I respond back, so I'm still deciding how I do that. Maddie proceeded to state that she felt sorry for her father and his 5 children with Robin. She went on by stating that she would want to have a discussion with Cody and Robin children. I have nothing against you, I would say, and I'm sorry if I've ever hurt you in any way. Will there be apologies? Maddie Brown Brush appears to be able to keep her father and his wife away from children. She doesn't like the distance and knows that they are her siblings. Sister Wives has spent the past 3 episodes grieving for Garrison Brown, who took his own life in March 2024. Even though they were separated, everyone gathered to bid him farewell. But while everyone else was at the opposite end of the grave, Robin's children were on one side with her and Cody. It was nice to see several children welcome Robin's 5 as they entered the cemetery. Fans of Sister Wives thought Robin was solely to blame for her family's distance from the other 3. Furthermore, they provided explanations for their feelings. They thought Robin was responsible for all aspects of their lives, including their phones. Furthermore, Robin appeared to make her children feel unwelcome in the meantime. Some observers believed Maddie and Leon were trying to use television to reach their siblings. What was the symbolic reason Janelle Brown bestowed upon Cody Grace? In what symbolic manner did Sister Wives star Janelle Brown pay tribute to Cody Brown during Garrison's funeral? Even before Janelle and Cody broke up, their relationship was very limited. She has now demonstrated more kindness than most would have. For more information, read on Janelle Brown. Sister Wives has given Cody grace symbolically. Sister Wives honored Garrison Brown, who died in March 2024 in the last 3 episodes. It explained his challenges, such as when they began, what triggered him, and other aspects. It also demonstrated how traumatic it was for his family to discover that he had taken his own life. When it was time to prepare to bury Garrison, Cody Brown desired to return him to Wyoming. This is where his family ranch is located and where his mother and father rest in their final grave. Janelle Brown, Cody, Robin, and their 5 kids were allowed by Janelle to go with Garrison on a pilgrimage to his final resting place, with the help of his brother and brother-in-law Cody, was even able to dig his son's grave. Cody sat at the edge of the cemetery when the family gathered at the cemetery. Janelle held the urn prior to he doing so, although he was going to be the one to bury it when that she handed it over to him, and informed him that it was logical since Janelle had given their child to Cody when he was born, she transferred him over in death. Therefore, it was a full circle moment for the parents pertaining to Janelle Brown, allowing Cody to dig Garrison's grave. One fan of Sister Wives commented, "However, I thought that Janelle's employment of poetic and symbolic language, when she specified that Cody ought to dig the hole instead of taking him home, or speaking more gentle words, was significant. She knew Garrison's deep need for Cody's love, but too late now. According to what was stated, Cody was estranged from his son during his death, which was sad. Fans are torn. Most Sister Wives fans were shocked by the courage of Janelle Brown following her giving birth to Cody Brown. The urn, she however confessed that for a moment she forgot about the problem with Cody. This was how it would end for these two grieving parents who had lost a child. Most viewers identified with the well-deserved symbolism and felt passionately about Janelle's reason for gifting it away together. They gave birth to him and are now returning him as one. This was not the way everyone envisioned. Unfortunately, the symbolism indicates that the true Cody was the one who brought this child. The most difficulty Janelle should have buried her child, who has always been with him. Disappointed face, you do not have a clue about the daily drudgery of rejection, shame, and abandonment. If you've never dealt with parental alienation, you play the stage for a horrible ending when you mix all of that with recurring anxiety and sorrow in spite of Cody's horrible behavior. Some audience members did pity him, no matter why Janelle presented the urn to him. Like Janelle, they extended grace to him because they knew the pain of losing a loved one. Even if it was a child, bridges that have long been thought to have been destroyed can be starting to be mended in the quiet aftermath of such a tremendous loss. A woman raised in a messy and scrutinized home has begun a personal journey to repair the once close-knit relationships. She attempts to open a door shut for years with gentle intentions and unspoken sorrow. Those who are familiar with the complicated family layout of the Brown household know her name, but her mission marks a sea change. This determined sister is boldly making the journey toward emotional recovery, as sadness abides in the aftermath of her brother's senseless death. The family already had begun to drift away into quiet long before the recent tragedies happened, in addition to challenging immune systems. The global health pandemic that ravaged the world years ago broke the last of the fragile bonds that held this multicolored family together. A man who once managed a household with multiple women and many children was at the center of that disintegration. His focus increasingly became intense, and he eventually devoted most of his time, effort, and presence to one home, one woman and her children. Suddenly, those who had spent their childhood filled with siblings, dinner with others' living rooms filled with laughter and holiday celebrations, with a group were divided by walls unseen. She maintained her home close, and her name became a synonym for support and loyalty for the family father. She stood strong in her defense of the strict rules established by her husband, even when others raised questions, complained, raised concerns, and drew their own conclusions. Whereas others desired this coming together, others perceived it to be a symptom of division. Her children, who were once an active part of the extended family, slowly faded away. Nobody answered messages once. Bustling with holiday equipment and casual news group interactions turned subdued. No invitations were issued, or if they were rejected. But for one daughter who had gone away to begin life of her own, The family tie never left her heart. She cherished the memory of her childhood and her many siblings close to her heart as a mother today. With her own children, a gap too large to ignore was left by the recent loss of her brother, a robust, intelligent man whose life was cut too short. The subsequent grief washed away old bitterness and revealed the unvarnished truth: she missed her family. Each and every one, there was no escaping the visual representation. The emotional chasm when mourners gathered under a gray sky in a serene resting place, hidden away in the endless Wyoming plains, those who had decided to strike out on their own and go it alone from the family patriarch were on one side those who remained close to him due to their day-to-day closeness and loyalty. On the other hand, however, some reluctant welcomes were exchanged between these previously shut brothers as the coffin went down and the branches swayed in the wind. Something new was ignited by a conversation outside of ceremonial bounds following the ceremony. A sibling, one who has not been publicly observed much of late, spoke openly with the sister who had flown the cup to build her own. Their discussion was an expression of hope, responsibility, and yearning. Instead of merely providing shallow condolences, she expressed her sorrow through tears, and her words not only from the recent tragedy, as well as years of silence, years of doubt, and years of wondering if the family she knew still existed beneath all the shattered layers. It wasn't a TV practiced speech, but she made a heartfelt wish that even surprised her to sit across from her father's other children, the ones she had not seen or heard from in so long, and just say, "I bear no grudge if I have hurt you knowingly," or "not, please forgive me." It was a wail from a healing ground. She made a clear separation in her heart, though her relationship with her father remains complicated and shaped by disappointment and various ideals. Even if they were brought up in a home she never fully understood, his children were still her siblings. Though they had been separated by time distance and grown-up matters, love had continued. Even if it was short, the time had potential. Her determination could have been shaken by sorrow, or perhaps motherhood had shown her the merits of do-overs and unselfish love. At any rate, she did not see the point in adult mistakes robbing her of being a sibling. The cause of the emotional walls built around a certain household has for some time now been a topic of speculation for watchers of the family's TV saga. Many believe that the matriarch of that family played the role of a gatekeeper between her children and the rest of the family because she was devoted to the patriarch's laws. Critics argue that she had such control over her kids' life that they had no autonomy. Rumors abounded that digital communication was either discouraged or even monitored. It was treason to reach out to others outside her little circle. But they are theories, observations drawn from online behavior and forums on TV. The agony on every side is still unrefutable. It's conceivable that the mother of the remote family acted out of love, fear, or merely the belief that she was protecting her children. Once her clan, those outside her sphere, now signifies strife instead of belonging. But something shifted at a cemetery in the middle of the country, with eyes bloodshot with tears and voices cracking with pain, not very meaningfully, perhaps just enough, though a nod, a hug, a wave, things that once were impossible without striving for perfection. The woman is now calling for reconciliation. She knows that not all of her siblings will respond. Not every conversation will go smoothly. Rebuilding all memory is impossible, yet she is prioritizing courage over comfort. When it may be simpler to say nothing, extend a hand, bringing peace where conflict once reigned. Making amends isn't the sole purpose of her travels. The purpose is to recapture what belonging to a tribe, even a dysfunctional one, does. About explaining to her children that they had cousins, about telling stories that bridge alienation, and about finding space for new relationships. new adventures, and perhaps someday family holidays, with more laughing than anxiety. Small gestures began to surface in the weeks following the funeral. A social media post that was liked posted a photograph that depicted everyone, not only one side. Even if they go unanswered, messages are conveyed despite their apparent modesty. These efforts have decades of history behind them. People who observe the family's progress on a screen often make assumptions, assign blame, and take sides for those who call it home. However, it is never so simple. Every contact entails love, devotion, confusion, bitterness, and history. This is realized by the sister who has resolved to be a bridge. She doesn't feign that the past didn't exist or claim that she's got all the answers. She offers presence, transparency, a willingness to try it out. And that is a very powerful gift in a family with entrenched traumas. First of all, she desires her children to know that their roots aren't simply rooted in agony, that trees can still have vines and twined trunks. Although they grow in various directions, that uncles and aunts are more than cousins, and names can be playmates. She glides quietly and unnoticed across this emotional terrain. Applause is not the motivation. Here she is talking less and listening more. She is holding space for people who might one day come forward. She also remembers that peace would have been what the boy would have wanted. They lost one. One brave sister is reaching out in his honor and in the desire for a more united future. Not because it is easy, but because it is the honorable thing to do. A woman who had once lived in spiritual oneness with a man she no longer speaks of as her partner made a choice that stunned many who knew about their story. During a time that was heavy with sorrow and rich emotional texture, the choice was not made on the basis of shared history, tradition, duty, or expectation. It was born of something much deeper, deep a sense of the depths of loss, brittleness of recovery, and finality of death. Standing along the boundary of a new cemetery, with something invaluable in her hands, was the woman concerned, a mother who had suffered with quiet strength. It was more than merely an ash vessel. It was a lifetime full of memories lost and precious moments, quietness and laughter, and held and shattered bows. In that instant, she presented the urn to the guy who had been the father of her man, that she had chosen to leave behind instead of putting their kid to bed herself. She did this because she felt the burden of shared fatherhood, even in its broken state, and not because she had forgotten the pain he had brought along with each new season. The series that followed their family's life went further down the depths of the complicated intricacies of dense familial ties, bright-eyed and full of promise. The boy they had once raised together came of age in a climate of disappointed hopes and emotional aloneness. His internal discordations finally ended in a tragic conclusion. They were unseen by many but deeply felt, by those who observed him aside from the loss itself. His death amazed those who knew him because it was the fulfillment of emotional distance, silent and unheard cries. The family prepared for a private farewell in the subsequent days of Now Gone Young. One would be buried in a legacy-marked land instead of where he had lived before his destination. In the end was determined to be a patch of land with the remains of paternal as well as maternal ancestors. The mother agreed to the decision to bury him there, even if it required painful cooperation. She authorized her ex-spiritual partner to lead their son to a destination that had once promised harmony, shared homesteads, and the nurturing of future generations. It was more than a funeral. It was a pilgrimage, a return to the start. People who stood off to the side questioned her actions. Why grant forgiveness to a man who, in the view of many, had not lived up to his duties as a father, considering how many moments have been wasted to pride and lack of care? Why give him the respect of closure? But few were able to see what she saw. She could see the pain concealed beneath his unyielding look, the sorrow behind his obstinacy. She saw a man who was devastated not only by his own guilt, but also by the fact that time had refused him the chance to make amends. The final ceremony began as they arrived at the final resting place, which was plotted around ancestral grounds and endless skies. After years of grasping for power, the man now sat humbled at the edge of a Sirius he had helped dig. He did not say much when feeling took hold. Words lacked him silently. The woman clutched the urn in her hands as if it were her baby boy, before handing it over to his father. It was a quiet gesture. It was not done on behalf of the audience or cameras. It was an offering of understanding more than forgiveness. She handed him back, having faith in him to bring their boy to earth, just as she had brought their child into the world and set him in his father's arms. It was a full circle. The journey of motherhood had come to its most solemn conclusion. Not because their relationship had come full circle. She explained in interviews after the wedding that the gesture was not spontaneous. Its melancholy was poetic, symbolic, and intentional. She had known for years that her son had longed for a relationship with his father that was never fully satisfied. She bore in her heart the pain of witnessing that divide grow wider, as well as the awareness that there was never to be any mending. But she also knew that although it was too late to repair, the father still had this chance to make a meaningful gesture. The rest of the town was whispering she should have kept the final act to herself, according to some that she must be the one to bury him, since she had been strong, and there had been perhaps this luxury is not to be granted to a man who had missed so many important occurrences. The gesture was seen in a different light. By others, they saw the dignity needed to transcend hostility. They saw a woman infusing meaning rather than giving up. Although not so born in a sense, the sorrow was mutual. Despite his inability to say it out loud, the father's remorse was apparent no matter what introspection might change the fact that he had lost a child he had once possessed. But the mother gave him a role in closure by giving him that urn. The past was not wiped out by her. She simply showed respect for the way the harrowing, flawed, genuine path they had traveled as parents. Her choice resonated deep within those who watch from afar because it referred to something universal, the ability to be gracious even in the midst of severe anguish, the choice to look at another for their humanity and not just for their shortcomings. The realization that tragedy has the ability to eliminate bitterness and reveal the soft center of an old love. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Get more information daily. See you soon.